welcome to another episode of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah. Now, Jank,
what is the first greatest?
I was just going to mention that, because I figure I should explain that. Because when Mike L used to open the show, he would always say the world's greatest Bronze Age.
Yeah. Very braggadocious.
A little pretentious. I don't know. I like to be humble. So there's probably a better one out there, you know?
Sure. But at least we're number 2. That's solid.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Silver medal.
For the second best Bronze Age comic book podcast. Now this week, Jank, it was my choice. Although last week you did Marvel Premiere issue 4, which was a black and white magazine anthology from Marvel, and Curtis, the imprint that did the magazines for Marvel. So this week, I like playing off your picks. So this week I went with the Rampaging Hulk issue 2 from 1977. This is also a black and white anthology, kind of an anthology. If it's 2 stories, is it an anthology?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I wonder if was it always this combo? Was it always Hulk and Ulysses Bloodstone?
It was not. Okay. It was not, and I'll get into that in a minute. And by the way, I didn't read Ulysses Bloodstone.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Well, yeah, I was actually curious.
I was a little curious, but then I was like, I don't feel it. Because this Hulk story was long, you know?
Yeah, it sure was.
And it wasn't very enjoyable. So.
No. It was one of those things where it's like, oh man, 2 of my favorites coming together, but they were not equal to some of their parts.
Yeah, Jank, that's why I picked this, because I know you love the Hulk. And also, in fact, I think the first time you were on Flea Market Fantasy, I believe at least the first book you chose was a Hulk, Peter David. Back in the day. And you also love the X-Men, right?
Sure.
So here you go. This is Hulk meeting the X-Men, and this is like the original X-Men. Iceman, Beast, Marvel Girl, Angel, Cyclops, Professor X. And I thought, wow, this is...
Ever since I first started reading comics.
I was like, this is a can't miss for Jank.
Yeah.
I love this. So
it's tougher than you would think.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute. So the creators for this book... Wait a minute, I'm having issues here. What the fuck just happened? My notes are all screwed up.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I had notes and everything, and now...
Oh, you came prepared, and now this.
I don't think the notes are where they should be. I'm looking for my... Oh, here it is, wait. Yeah, okay, my notes were just further down the page. I doubled up my notes. What happened?
Oh, well, you think you'd be able to find them if there's 2 copies.
I opened up the... usually I just overwrite the previous week's notes. But here I just added them to the bottom of last week's notes.
Oh, okay.
So when I opened up the file, when I went to read the notes, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Star-Lord's notes.
Yeah.
No, I found the Hulk's notes. All right. So it was Rampaging Hulk was a black and white magazine from Curtis, and it was published from 1977 to 1978. And then with issue 10, it changed its name to just the Hulk ! And then it was, because at first they were going to should we do it the Hulk ? And they're like, nah, let's do the Hulk !
They tried it in Sarabang once, but they're like, no.
I would kind of like it to be a question mark, and then every book you read it, you purchase it, and you're like, maybe the Hulk's in there, maybe he isn't. You just got to read it to find out. The Hulk? I don't know. We'll find out. So with issue 10, it also started being printed in color. And it ran for 17 more issues before ending in 1981. Now, the reason they made this switch, Jack, you're probably wondering, why did they do this? Well, back in 1978, there's a TV show that was very popular called The Incredible Hulk, starring Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So Marvel said, hey, let's cash in on the success of that TV show. So they started making it more like the TV show. And the stories, the first few stories we're reading here, there are supervillains and other superheroes. Then after, when it was just the Hulk, it was more like the TV show where it was just human interest stories.
Yeah, just going from town to town, running into random people having problems.
That's right. That was weird how the Hulk would just help people with problems, everything.
Yeah. It was basically Kung Fu, but you with the Hulk.
I can't open this jar. What will I do? And then the Hulk pops up. He's like, I got it for you. The magazine would also...
your house on the way, but,
at
least you got that jar open.
The magazine would also feature frequent interviews with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So that was something. And I guess the show's executive producer was involved as well in doing the book. So that's how it was until it ended in 1981. And then there was a second volume of Rampaging Hulk that was a comic book for Marvel, not the magazine. And it was from 1998 to 99, lasted 6 issues. Are you aware of this, Jank?
Yes, I think I did not read this at the time, but I believe I did go back and end up buying it later on. But I don't think I ever actually read it. I don't remember the art being very good, which kind of put me off. And it wasn't written by Peter David, so I was like, who cares?
It's usually a plus in my book. The creators for this book here today, Doug Mensch is the writer, and we've talked about Doug Mensch many times on this show before. Probably on the Batman episodes, on one of the many thousands of Batman episodes that Mike L chose. So go back and
see what I know.
Yeah. And then the art here is done by Walt Simonson, which I would, like I said last week, I would give you a million guesses. You would never guess this is Walt Simonson, right? It looks nothing like Walt Simonson.
Well, it doesn't, and it also does. You can definitely tell in certain parts that this is Walt Simonson. It's just, I think the art, the inking and the shading specifically make it look different.
There was only one panel where I thought,
and stuff looked very much like his stuff.
There was only one panel where I'm like, this reminds me of Walt. Everything else, I don't know. What was he doing with the Hulk here? We'll talk about it a little bit later, but he had a flat head and I don't know. It was.
Well, a lot of his stuff was like that. Everybody kind of looked like trolls. I mean, certain people he would do all right, but I remember him doing a lot of trolls. Obviously, he was doing Thor and stuff, so that makes sense. But a lot of weird looking troll-like creatures, even in X Factor and stuff like that. So, I feel like that's kind of his thing.
But I'm used to the sharp edges and the clean lines, and this is way different. The angular bodies and everything. But anyway,
panels, just the layouts looked very similar to something you would see him do later on. But even if, like I said, I think the shading gives it a lot more detail that you don't normally get in a colored comic book.
Yeah, because again, when we started doing this podcast, I don't think I realized how significant a inker was to the art. And then when we go through it, you're like, oh yeah, the penciler can look completely different if there's another inker or not another inker. So maybe you did recognize layouts, sometimes. But in terms of the style of the drawing, completely different. It's a completely different style.
It has a very different feel from his later work for sure.
Yeah, because he did the first 3 issues here, and he was 31 years old when he did this book. So he was 4 years into his career. So he was still finding his way. Early Walt Simonson. Yeah. And some other
very good though for a guy who was early on. In certain ways, this looks almost better than what he did later on.
Oh, I don't think at all.
But
I don't think at all. I don't know.
I thought some of the characters looked pretty good.
I don't know. I did not like. I mean, it was. We'll get into it when we get through it. All right. So some other creators who worked on the Rampaging Hulk. We had from the artists. We had John Buscema, Howard Chaykin, John Romita Sr., John Romita Jr., and this was one of some of the early, the very first work John Romita Jr. ever did was in the Rampaging Hulk. Keith Pollard.
Contest champions.
Yes. Yeah. Keith Pollard, Jim Starlin, Joe Jusko, Bill Sienkiewicz, Val Mayrick, Herb Trimpe, Brent Anderson, and Gene Colan. So that's a pretty impressive list of artists. And some of the writers were Jim Starlin, Doug Mensch, Roger Stern, Denny O'Neil, and Archie Goodwin. Now, you mentioned the backstories. Ulysses Bloodstone appears in issues 1 through 6 and issue 8. And since, we were talking about Bloodstone recently on the show, right?
I think we were talking about him on the LCS show when we talked about that I watched that.
That's right.
By Night special.
Yeah. Werewolf by Night.
He's kind of a key factor in there.
Because I said I was familiar with Elsa Bloodstone from that Marvel Avengers Alliance game I used to play. But, so he's basically is he a monster hunter? Or what's his deal?
Yeah, he's a monster hunter who apparently, I didn't really even know that he had really existed. I knew that, obviously Elsa was his daughter, but I didn't ever read any of his old adventures. but apparently he's been alive for 10,000 years. And the
Wow.
Bloodstone has given him, immortality, but not invulnerability. So he can die, but, not from old age and that kind of thing. So that's pretty interesting right there.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, better than Elsa Bloodstone, who's probably just like 30.
Yeah, so, all right. I was going to say, so he had her when he was like 9,970 years old or something?
Yeah. I guess so.
What a tragic life that is, just watching everybody you've ever known just die.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's a man of the world, apparently. He's got his own secret base and all kind of stuff.
He must have like no emotional connection to anything. It's like, yeah, it's just gonna...
Yeah.
Because that's how I am.
It's like owning hamsters, basically, but they're cheap.
I've only known a few people that die, and that's how I am. So now from issue 7, or I'm sorry, just issue 7, it's Man-Thing, and we've encountered Man-Thing here on the show before. Then Shauna the She-Devil was the backup in issue 9, and then Moon Knight was featured in issues 11 through 15, 17 to 18, and 20. And that was Bill Sienkiewicz doing some of his earliest work because he started in issue 13 doing the Moon Knight backups.
That's got to be nice.
Yeah, and then he actually picked up the Moon Knight regular series and he started that as well.
Yeah.
So that's that. Now there's another character in this book we will be discussing. Her name is Barit. Barit.
Yep.
Have you ever encountered Barit before, Jack?
I don't believe so, actually. I think I was looking up when her last appearance was in Hulk, and it was probably before I started reading. So I think it was like in the late 200s, kind of before when he was still Bruce Banner, in the Hulk's body, essentially. Before he went completely savage and Doctor Strange had to send him to the, out of our reality.
So she is a Krylorian, which is an alien race. And we'll be meeting other Krylorians in this book. And her first appearance was in Rampaging Hulk issue 1, created by Mention Simonson. Now, she appeared in issue 269 of The Incredible Hulk. So she jumped over, and I believe that was 1982. I didn't write it down, but I think that's when it was. And in that story, so this Rampaging Hulk stuff ended in her part of it ended in 78. And then it went to the TV show kind of thing. So then she shows up in Incredible Hulk in 269 in 1982, and she tells everybody there that all that Rampaging Hulk stuff, that was all, she invented all that for her home world. Those are all movies that she made to entertain her. So basically everything we're reading today never happened in our universe.
What?
Yeah.
How did she make that? With like CGI, essentially?
Yeah, she's Krylorian. She's a techno artist. That's how they explained it. And then on her planet, like, technology is really huge and everything. And so they had, she was able to make these very, in-depth films to entertain, she was like a techno artist is what they said. And she directed these films kind of like Mojo.
And Andy Sedaris.
Yeah. That would be great.
Titillating.
That would be great if Andy Sedaris. So basically, I guess it's a way for them to explain how everything happened here never happened. Well, this is just an alternate universe version. They gave it a number. You know how they number things. So this isn't the 616. This is something else that we're reading.
Yeah. I guess that would make sense because it seemed weird to me that the X-Men and the Hulk were meeting for the first time in this weird magazine. And it was like 1977.
Yeah, that's the other thing about these stories is they were supposedly situated on the timeline after the Incredible Hulk's initial run. Jank, I'm sure you're a Hulk historian. When Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, like that initial thing, that was like 10 issues or something? Is that all it was?
Yeah, I think it may have been even less than that.
Yeah, maybe 8.
Yeah, it was very short.
And that's where he was gray and he like kind of talked like a gangster. He didn't talk like Hulk Smash. And he also wore like really neat purple underpants, not the shredded shorts. And he didn't turn into the Hulk by being angry. He turned into the Hulk with the help of a gamma ray.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the first couple issues, and then I think they changed it to him changing at night.
Okay. So after that run ended, there was a little gap, and then he started in Tales to, or is it Astonishing Tales or Tales to Astonish? Tales to Astonish, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So this series, The Rampaging Hulk, is supposed to be between those two runs in the timeline. But people wrote into the letter column and said, well, this doesn't make sense because he's wearing the purple pants that are shredded, and he's talking like Hulk Smash, and he's turning into Hulk when he's angry. And so they just, oh, well, don't worry about it. They just
sadly, that would not be the only time in Hulk's history where they would try to pull that shit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But I guess that's why the X-Men here. What year did the X-Men get real popular? Like with the new X-Men, when did that kick in? 70?
Probably late 70s, I would say.
77-ish.
On the giant size X-Men, was that 75?
That sounds about right. So this, cause it just seemed weird, like the X-Men have never heard of the Hulk when they're reading this, like they never.
Yeah, so I guess very early on. So I guess they were acting very, like this was one of their first missions type thing. Yes. They were not a well-oiled unit at all. So they're like, oh, Jean, when will you ever become useful?
I know.
God damn it.
They treat her like garbage because she's a girl. We'll point out some of this stuff later. But, yeah, so I guess in kayfabe, to use a wrestling term, they were still like in the early 60s here in the X-Men's world, and they had never encountered the Hulk yet, I guess. I don't know. So, anyway.
Yeah.
But one more note about...
They did encounter Hulk in either their book or, the Tales to Astonish, and they met for the first time there. So it's like, how can you have two first-time meetings?
You figure they would have to have met somewhere, right? I mean,
yeah.
Anyway. But getting back to Barit, this alien lady, she's got like a giant mohawk, and she carries like a purse where she can just reach in and grab anything she needs, it seems like.
Yeah, I guess it's like the TARDIS on Doctor Who, where it's just bigger on the inside.
Isn't that Shaman's gimmick with Alpha Flight as well? Doesn't he have that magic pouch?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because she's Krylorian, I think she only has 2 fingers and a thumb. I didn't even really notice too much. But also, we all encountered her, though. Every person listening to this has probably encountered Barit. Because if you ever watch the Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The very first movie, she was the lady who was on Star-Lord's ship, who he had had a one-night stand with and forgot she was on the ship.
That's right. But no mohawk there.
No. Yeah, and I think, I watched Guardians, the second one, but I can't remember too much about it. But I guess the Krylorians also appear throughout that movie, so I don't know if she pops up again in that one. But I don't know.
I think the collectors people, like the ones who were serving him, were all Krylorians. They were all pink. I'm assuming, those ones.
So there it is, the Barit. I had no idea that was Barit.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of buried the lead on that one.
All right, so let's look at this book now. Look at the cover here, Jank. This is the Rampaging Hulk, April, number 2, $1 in 1977. The Rampaging Hulk, big red letters, 3-dimensional kind of, with the shadow behind it. And then we have the Hulk.
They didn't put a lot of effort into that logo, gotta say. Those are just kind of standard block letters. Like, nothing to distinguish this at all.
And we got Hulk, up in the corner box, there's a little Hulk. And he's like running at you like, I'm the Hulk. Arr. And then, the cover itself has a big old Hulk punching what looks like a robot, but I guess he's not a robot. He's,
I thought it was a statue, but he's not a statue either. He's just a mutated person, I guess.
Yeah, I thought that he's fighting robots, because like little sprockets and gears are popping off of him when he's hitting them. But,
what kind of process is this?
So the Hulk's punching him with a big right hand, and he's running into him. And in the background's all like Hulk green kind of, but we can see a faint image of the Eiffel Tower. Mm-hmm. And then it says, "Alien mutants gone mad!" ! And then at the very bottom, The Parisian Peril. I love alliteration. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's what the comic industry was built on.
How do you feel about this cover, Jay?
I really like it. Again, these magazine covers tend to be very classy looking, and they almost look like they're colored with colored pencil or something.
Yes.
It's like a little bit, different than normal comic books. So I really like that. The only thing I don't really like is the Hulk's right arm looks very weird. It's just kind of like same thickness all the way through, and I don't know. It's very strange looking.
Yeah, the forearm down is questionable. It looks like rubber.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's punching so much as his arm went dead and is just kind of hanging there limply.
I didn't look up who drew this, but I guess if you look down in the bottom right, Ken Barr, apparently. He drew it. I don't know who that is.
No.
Ken Barr. All right, so,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you mentioned, all these books, classy, I guess is what you said, right? They look classy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're getting your dollar's worth.
So then we open it up in a big splash page and it says, and then the X-Men. How many times has that been used in comic books? And then, or enter
you don't have a better title. Yep. Yep. That's the go-to, I think.
And we have Hulk, jumping, and we get the sound effect scoom. Scoom.
It could have been Scooch, which I would have appreciated.
Yeah,
but
Scooch would have been nice.
Scoom.
But he's reaching up, so his hand is breaking the top of the panel there. And again, I would never guess in a million years this is Walt Simonson. This kind of looks like a 12-year-old drew this.
I could definitely see this as Walt Simonson.
I could not. Look at that face.
The shading makes it different, but yeah, I mean, Walt Simonson's faces were kind of weird sometimes.
I don't know, man.
I mean, the Hulk is a different case. Some people draw him very monstrous. Some people draw him more like a human. Walt clearly went for the very monstrous troll-like face. But,
yeah, he's like Hammerhead. With the old flat anvil head there. And,
giant bottom lip.
Yeah, an enormous mouth. His nose is right up between his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Not a fan of how he drew the Hulk here. But yeah, this just looks like an early comic book artist learning what he's doing. You know. So what is the Hulk yelling about?
Something you could see Walt Simonson doing, I think.
What's the Hulk yelling about here, Jank, when he's jumping?
He's tired of Rick Jones and Barit. So he's gonna go jump away and try to find some food. He's tired of old city with stone walls. So Hulk will smash stone wall and leave city. Find someplace somewhere new.
Yeah, get some food. And we get Rick Jones. How do you feel about Rick Jones as a Hulk aficionado? Are you a fan of the Rick Jones?
I've heard you and Mike L talk shit about Rick Jones on the show, and I will not stand for it.
All right, I don't know a lot about Rick Jones. I just know, hey, he's the least interesting part of Hulk comic books. That's all I know. That's all I know.
But he's really not. He's a good dude. Like, I mean, the Hulk's creation was basically all his fault, but he's spent like every day of his life since trying to atone for it and like being a good buddy to Bruce Banner and sticking by him when nobody else would. And
well, except for the parts where he's out playing grab ass with Quasar, right? Didn't he have those quantum bands for a while? And then,
he became the new Bucky for a while, and slowly became Captain Marvel. Essentially, they switched bodies.
Yeah, this Rick Jones guy. He also popped up in that
a lot of adventures.
Did he pop up in that 3D Man book we did? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe not. But I know we encountered Rick Jones somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, he started the Avengers, basically. There'd be no Avengers if it wasn't for Rick Jones.
That is true, I guess. Yeah, because he put out the distress signal, right, or something. Or
that got them all together that first time.
I think Rick Jones looks a lot like Peter Parker here.
Oh yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that.
And
especially in that second panel, he's got that like humdog, slunched shoulders look. Yeah, that's very Peter Parker.
And we mentioned Barit. She has like a giant, I guess it's a headdress, but it's like a giant mohawk headdress. And she's dressed like a Vegas showgirl, basically.
Yeah.
Just like a bra top. and a cloth thing around her waist.
Good luck.
She's getting a lot of attention everywhere they go.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe you should try and keep a low profile there. But what can you do? So now we see Hulk. Oh, another good sound effect. Choom. and he's still jumping. And he's jumping up to the Swiss Alps. He's like, I want to go all the way up to the Swiss Alps.
They must have food there.
Yeah.
You heard about the Swiss chocolate. And like, I got to get some of that.
And as soon as he lands, in nowhere, just in the middle of the Swiss Alps, a big robot punches him in the face. Just like, wait, what's going on? But it's not a robot, like we mentioned. It's a mutated Krylorian, right?
No, this one is a human.
Oh, okay.
They don't try the Krylorian thing till later. Yeah, apparently this is like the third or fourth human that they've tried this on, and they keep exploding. Like self-combust.
Yeah, basically the Krylorians, this alien race, they're doing experiments, and they're mutating humans and then turning them loose throughout Paris. And they're wrecking the city. But then these things like self-destruct because they just can't sustain themselves. So Hulk just happens to jump into the midst of one of these rampages with this guy. And so he starts to fight this I'm just going to keep calling him a robot. And he keeps fighting his robot. And the robot is fighting the Hulk. But then the Hulk gets real mad. I mean, come on, Jake. Look at this art. It looks pretty bad, dude.
Yeah, like I said, when it comes to the Hulk, not the best. But like Rick Jones, I thought looked good. The X-Men looked pretty good.
But look at like the page of him fighting the robot, and then where he says Hulk smashes. I mean, come on, look at that. What are we doing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the Hulk seems overshaded. Like they filled him in with so much like gray shading that you're just like, I can't even tell what the hell's happening here.
Yeah. The art in this book is unique. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So the Hulk's about to smash the robot, but then the robot just explodes. And why is Hulk flying away when Hulk never even jumped?
Hulk's learning about physics today.
How do you like your Hulk? Do you like him normal talking, gangster talking, or Hulk smash kind of stuff?
I mean, I do like. I have a real soft spot in my heart for the Gray Hulk, the kind of gangster one who went to Vegas and became a leg breaker.
I never read any of that.
Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. And I also liked the Professor Hulk when Dr. Sampson kind of merged all the personalities into one. Like he merged Banner, the Green Hulk, and the Gray Hulk into like Smart Hulk. So that I really liked as well. This basic Green Hulk where he's just kind of dumb. It's tough after a while. Like you can't do a lot of it. It's good in small doses, but it's hard to come back month after month for that because there's just not a lot going on.
Yeah, I like the Hulk smash guy, but that's why you need Rick Jones though, because like you need something. If it's just Hulk smash, there's only so much you can do with that. You know? Yeah. You need to have someone else there to kind of carry the story, you know.
The Avengers movies have done such a good job with that, honestly. Like keeping the Hulk, you know, you have good Hulk moments, but he's not like the focus because that, you know, gets old. Yes. But he shows up, he like punches Thor randomly, and you're just like, oh, all right, that was good. Good use of Hulk. Great.
Yeah. So Hulk's trying to figure out why he's flying away. This thing exploded, and here we see there's a lady, and she's hiding in the shadows in a trench coat and a hat. And she's got some big mechanical thing, some advanced technology, a ham radio. It looks like, and she's like
the Whistler,
and the Whistler, their old radio show. Hey, I keep listening to that every day, and I swear I heard one with Peter Falk, Jank. But that can't be right, can it? I mean,
you don't know. I guess it could be.
This guy sounds a lot like Peter Falk. No, they didn't give any credits, but the Whistler was real popular in the 40s, and then I think it went into the 50s, so this would have to be mid-50s for him to be in it, right? Or
yeah, I would think. I mean, he was doing Twilight Zone episodes probably about then, so.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, but it sure sounds a lot like Peter Falk. Anyway. All right, so getting back to the Hulk here. Although, hey, what if there's a Columbo comic book?
Oh, that would be the best.
That would be great.
We'd have to do every issue. It'd be the Columbo phonology.
Awesome. Columbo. So Hulk, he's still looking for food, but he's hungry, so he just turns back into Bruce Banner and just falls down on the ground.
Yeah, a lot of passing out. Like Bruce, he changes to Bruce Banner a couple times in here, and most of it's just passing, and he just passes out.
Low blood sugar.
Even when you get Bruce Banner, he's still not doing a lot of talking.
He passes out. Now we cut back to Rick Jones and Barit, and he says, "Hey, Barit, why don't you turn out of that, change out of that showgirl outfit? You know, maybe pick something a little more appropriate." So she just changes her outfit. Now she's a nun.
Yeah.
It's like, well, all right. And all the other Paris people, they're like, "It's a miracle. Did you see? It's a miracle." All right, so that's the end of that scene. Now we get to chapter 2. This book is divided into chapters.
Yeah, there's 5 chapters.
Wow, it's a long haul. 5 chapters.
36 pages. I was counting every one.
So now we get a room full of danger, and we cut to the X-Men in the danger room, and they're doing their little exercises. Now, this must be an early version of the danger room, because the control panel is in the danger room itself.
That seems like that's a design flaw you should have caught, like that porthole in the Death Star that blows the whole thing up. Like, you should have realized right off the bat this was a bad idea.
Yeah, you can't have the control panel in the midst of all the flying missiles and projectiles and laser beams and shit.
Yeah. How is Cyclops, who's operating the control panel, supposed to feel good about putting all these obstacles in their way when they could be hitting him in the head while he's doing it?
It's very weird. But it's a nice little shot of them going through their paces here in the danger room. And but here's one of my favorite lines. Like, cause they're complaining like the danger room's getting a little tired, they're getting used to the obstacles and whatnot. And then who is talking here? Is this, that Iceman? It looks like it's Iceman, right? Hogwash beast. These exercises are kid stuff. Even Marvel Girl has mastered her telekinetic powers enough to swerve those missiles harmlessly aside. Even Marvel Girl, the dumb girl, was able to master her powers enough.
Yeah. An Omega level telepath and telekinetic. I mean, they don't know she's a telepath, but still, like, telekinesis is very powerful. You can do shit without getting anywhere near it. You can just blow up people's hearts from a couple blocks away.
Even
she's
that
the most powerful
girl
person on this team. They're like, wow, at least she, she's finally able to survive this.
She does not get much respect in this at all.
No.
So, Iceman is still like, talking big, like, this is so easy. He's deflecting all the projectiles with an ice shield. And then Cyclops shoots a heat rocket at him. And that's not a euphemism. That is an actual rocket. It has a hot tip to it. So it goes right through his ice shield. And Cyclops starts scolding him. Hey, you don't be so cocky there, Iceman. So what does Iceman do, Jank?
It starts melting through his shield. So he dives out of the way, and then he whips an icicle over at Cyclops, but misses and hits the control panel, proving why you don't put that in the danger room.
I think he was trying to hit the control panel, though, right? Because he says, why don't you take a turn running the gauntlet? So, yeah, I don't know. Was he shooting at Cyclops, or was he trying to change? Yeah, I never thought of it, but maybe he was just trying to hit Cyclops. But I don't know. Either way, Iceman,
that's an incredible shot. If he could somehow hit the right button without even being, on the right angle to see the control panel.
Because he says, why don't you try running it? And he shoots it, and then all these things start shooting at Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking it was ridiculous that he had such good aim, but maybe you're right. He was just trying to stab Cyclops through the head with an icicle, and he missed. And he just happened to hit the button.
This is crazy, because this is when the danger room was not infused with Shi'ar technology. It was just he's actually firing missiles at this team. Like, if they fuck up, you can't do a safety missile.
And that's such a thing. And that button he hit, Cyclops says, Iceman, you fool, you've activated the pistons. I wasn't prepared to invade them all. And like, there's a bunch of metal pistons being shot at side. That would kill him, right? Just on these metal objects.
Yeah. Professor X is a monster.
But he turns around and he uses my power beam and he shoots the pistons and shatters them. But then Iceman, he just won't stop. He keeps throwing more icicles. This guy's a dick. You know?
He really is. Iceman's the worst in this.
And Beast is trying to calm him down, and he ices over the control panel, and now there's a whole bunch of booby traps are firing off.
Yeah, because all the buttons are depressed because it's all covered in ice. But I did like desist your shenanigans.
Yeah,
that's
from the
good.
Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very early Hank McCoy, you know, before he talked like that. Hey, remember there's a period where he turned dumb? Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Every time he used his strength, he would get dumber.
I feel that's kind of like me too. But I don't like to do much.
Pull-ups.
Yeah, I don't like to do too much. Then the Beast yells, "Gadzooks!" And they're having all kinds of trouble here in the danger room. And Angel swoops in and saves Marvel Girl. Don't worry, Marvel Girl. I'll swoop you out of the path of those concussion needles.
Thanks, Angel, the most useless X-Man, saving probably the most powerful one on the team.
And she says, if you'd given me the chance, I could have saved myself, you know? But you're a girl. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And then
you're barely able to find the door to the danger room to get in.
And then Iceman says, not while the gallant Iceman is here, Marvel Girl. And he says, he's like, ever ready to deflect anything that comes near your precious heart.
Aw. What a sweet guy. Yeah, everybody's horny for Marvel Girl here.
So Cyclops.
Being one girl on the team.
Clearly, she's getting with Professor X at night, right? I mean, that's what's going on.
Yeah, probably. That's why he brought her in.
But Cyclops says, hey, I'm going to try and use my laser beam here to shoot off the ice, and he just blows up the whole control panel. And he's like, oops, oh well, I guess it worked, you know.
Yeah.
Destroyed the control panel.
I guess that shut everything down. I don't know if they really would, but, you know,
now,
just be more control.
On the next page there, I think it's Digital 13, the first panel we see Cyclops and Beast. Second panel we see Marvel Girl, Angel, and Iceman. There, the head, neck, and hair of Marvel Girl there, that reminds me of Walt Simonson.
Mm-hmm.
That is later Walt Simonson. Like the hair, the angle. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, they're like yelling, hey, pardon my slipstream, Iceman. That's Angel saying. I don't know what that even means. But I'm eager to collect my reward. If I had, so he's coming in. He's like, all right, I saved you, Marvel Girl. Now you have to have sex with me. That's what he's saying.
Right here in front of the whole team.
Yeah. And Iceman's like, what? No way. I deserve the reward. And they're arguing.
I get to have sex with both of us.
Make three. And Cyclops, he's just he's leaving the room there, but he's like, he loves Marvel Girl, you know, but he can't get romantically involved with her when at any moment a blast of my destructive power could know. I can't even think about it. And meanwhile, Marvel Girl, she's Iceman and Angel are fighting for her. She's thinking to herself, oh, Cyclops, why must you always turn away from me? It's really you I love. If only you could show me some sign, open up enough for me to. And then Professor Xavier pops in, his big giant floating head. It's a good shot of Xavier. It's one of those
things where it's like, why? I get later on, you know, why they fall in love, but here it's just like, what do they see in each other? Especially like, what does she see in Cyclops? Because Cyclops is, you know, doing nothing to garner her affections. It's or show any personality.
That physical chemistry, you know? There's just that spark. She's in the room.
Yeah. But that's a very good picture of Marvel Girl there. Like, the art looks great there.
Yeah. I like the big shot of Xavier, too, in the next panel. Like his big floating head.
Very sharp eyebrows.
Yeah.
Classic Xavier right there.
So now Xavier calls him into his study there, and this is back when Xavier had the old school wheelchair. You know, no fancy floating wheelchairs or anything.
I like that he tells them, you know, hey, come to my study, go change, come to the study, so that I can send you out on a mission where you have to put your uniforms back on.
Well, hey, the school has a code. It has a dress code. If you're in the study, you have to wear your normal clothes. You know?
No uniforms in my study, goddammit. This is a fancy place.
It's just the way, because he has a camera set up in Marvel Girl's room, so he just gets to watch her change her clothes twice.
That's true.
It's pervert. So, Jank, what does Xavier tell the kids there?
He says, well, they're making fun of Bobby and his bullshit, and he says, let's see, my Cerebro machine, which detects the presence of active mutants, indicates a grave challenge ahead. Direct your attention to the blank wall opposite us, upon which I will project mental images depicting a scene which occurred yesterday in Paris, France. A mutant, you say? One of Magneto's evil mutants, Professor? No, Scott, I doubt it. This Cerebro indicates this being is not a true mutant as we know him, but a mutated variation on its natural species, whatever that species may be. So yeah, it kind of tells them that there's been 3 or 4 of these things over in Europe, and they keep exploding. But somehow Cerebro's registering them as mutants. So that's why the X-Men have decided to get involved.
Hey, that panel of the mental image of the one self-destructing, that's also Simon. You can recognize Simon's in there from the lines.
Oh, wait.
Look at that. But yeah, so we're going to send you to Paris. You got to figure this out. And we get another glimpse of that girl in the trench coat and the hat, and because she's the one leading these robots.
And they're going to send a radio tracking harness with them so that they can track down this signal that this person in the code is sending to these mutants.
Yeah, so chapter 3 opens up, the Monster Makers. That's this chapter. And we get a big shot of these 2 Krylorian dudes. And they're Krylorians, they have weird eyebrows.
Yep. That feels very Walt Simonson right there, those eyebrows.
And something you'd see like you mentioned, like an Asgard troll or something.
Yeah, like frost giants or something.
And they got big chins, almost like a Thanos kind of chin.
Mm-hmm.
And little ears, but they're kind of chubby, fat faced. but they're hooked up to these giant machines on their heads, and they're really smart guys, you know. And here that lady in the trench coat and the hat shows up, and they're like, the one was like, "Hey, how did this lady get in our headquarters here? What the hell? I didn't order the prostitute yet. What is going on here?" And no, this lady is actually a Krylorian in disguise, and she turns into a normal Krylorian.
The one apparently already knew that and was talking to her, having a full conversation before the other one goes, "Hey, wait, why is this woman here?" That was very strange.
Yeah, he wasn't paying attention, that other guy, you know. Yeah, he was watching Krylorian porn on his video screen, and he wasn't paying attention. So then they're saying, well, we've got a problem here, because all these humans, we mutate them into these rabbits, and they keep exploding. So what we need to do is maybe try this on a Krylorian, because we're hardy, you know, we'll be able to take it. But these weak humans, these puny humans, they're too fragile. So they're like, hey, where can we get a Krylorian? And then they look around and they're like, hey, how about this guy right here? He wasn't fucking paying attention when we were talking earlier. How about we just take that guy? And he's like, no, not me. And he goes running away. But yeah, they grab that guy and they're going to turn him into a robot.
He's like, I'm the chronicler. You need me.
Oh yeah, the chronicler. Ooh, what a great job that is. What, you just watch shit and then tell us about it? Yeah, we're here too, dummy. So get out of here.
We got a Watu for that.
So now we cut back to Paris. We see Rick Jones and Barit still dressed as a nun. And again, she shows some thigh here because she carries like a, I don't know, some magic. Is that a purse or what is that? Like on her strapped to her thigh. And then she
a fanny pack for your thigh.
She like pulls out this. How does she say? Yes, Rick. I believe my spatial distorter does have an appropriate techno art creation. And yes, here it is. My organically molecular shuttle shunter.
Yeah, just rolls off the tongue.
And he's like, whatever you say, Barit. But I guess it's a little teleport platform or something, a little machine that teleports.
Yeah, they're going to teleport all over France looking for the Hulk and hope they get lucky.
So now we cut to the X-Men. Hey, this is before they got the Blackbird. They're flying like commercial, it looks. They're just.
Yeah. It's kind of a little dinkier than their normal plane later on.
Yeah, the Blackbird was sweet. So they jump out of the plane. They're going around Paris, and they split up.
Like that, yeah, Cyclops sends them to like all the biggest landmarks. Like, oh, if the Hulk's not, on a walking tour of Paris, we're probably screwed because all we're hitting is the big tourist stops.
So Angel's flying over, I don't know where the hell he is. Yeah, well, they're not in wait, I said he was in the Swiss Alps earlier. Were they in the Alps? Where was Hulk? It's not in the Alps.
I don't think he went all the way to Switzerland.
Yeah.
That's and then found his way back to France. Like, yeah, kind of unusual.
I'm not big on geography. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Angel, I guess, he's flying over all of Paris, like trying to find the Hulk.
I'm sure there's a mountain range in Paris or France. I mean, God damn, I'm so dumb. See, I used my strength earlier, and I'm dumb. So Angel sees Bruce Banner walking around. He's like, man, it's kind of chilly out here for that little native fella to be walking around in just shorts and no shirt. But then Bruce Banner, he's
right on by.
He's still weak.
How useless he is.
And he staggers into the water, and he just like falls into the water. He's going to drown. And Angel says, "Wow, I better save that guy. I like this. I think this is pretty clever."
Mm-hmm.
And so Angel swoops down like a hawk, getting a fish out of the water. One of them deals. And he reaches under the water, and he grabs a hand. He's like, "Wow, this dude's fucking heavy." But then the next panel we see he's actually holding the Hulk's big green hand. Oh, it's not green, but big hand. And he's like, "Holy hell! That guy, what the hell? I don't know what that is." and he drops the Hulk. And then the Hulk gets mad because he's like, "Hey, man with bird wings, you drop Hulk mad." And he starts throwing rocks at him.
That is the best part of, Savage Hulk is when he just gets mad and says weird shit.
Yeah. Birdman. Or was he called Birdman or Man with Bird Wings? I don't know. Yeah, man with bird wings.
Yeah. Very eloquent.
Leave Hulk alone. All who bother Hulk should be like man with bird wings. All leave Hulk alone. So Hulk can jump away to find food again. Yeah, because Angel says, "Hey, this thing's throwing rocks at me. I'm out of here." So he takes off. So then Hulk jumps away. Now this is my favorite panel of the whole book. Hulk eating a bunch of apples and bread and a
bunch of baguettes.
Paris
all the baguettes. Yeah, the best part is the French guy there yelling, "Sucre bleu, another monster." Or I guess it's the lady. Maybe he's yelling it. But you can't have something set in France without someone yelling "Sucre bleu."
Sucre bleu. And then the guy's wearing a beret that was selling the baguettes.
Yeah.
Pretty
His daughter's not going to art school anymore.
So we come back to the X-Men, and Angel's like, hey, Cyclops, I believe I just says, and he say, "Hey, shut up, Angel. We don't care what you think. We're here already. We already found the Hulk." And Xavier's there controlling them, or giving them advice, his big float
Probably
head.
Controlling them too. Just mind controlling all of the. You're all just drones.
And then at the same time, Rick Jones and Barit show up in their little teleport machine. And Hulk is still, it looks like he has a giant hot dog, but those are all baguettes in his hand.
Yeah. Maybe he made like a hot dog out of like some baguettes and really long sausage.
So then we cut to chapter 4, the Battle of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, so there's a lot of people around, and Cyclops again, they have no concept of what the Hulk is, who he is, they just like this big monster. They think he's a mutant. And so, this is kind of foreshadowing Cyclops' later run as X-Factor, when they used to go arrest mutants, remember? And they pretend to arrest them. So he's kind of doing that. And Hulk is like, "No, who are you, man with bird wings and others? Not soldiers, but all dressed the same, like soldiers do. Bah, not matter. Soldiers or not, no one tells Hulk where to stand. Hulk smash them if they try." So now Beast says, "All right there, buddy. I'm going to take you out because I got big feet." And he jumps at him with his big feet.
One with big toes trying to hit Hulk with feet. Hulk will punch him.
Yeah, Hulk just smashes him, and Beast goes flying into the stratosphere. Now, wouldn't Beast be dead right now? Like, wouldn't that like?
Well, yep. Yeah, I mean, Angel catches him from going out into space, but yeah, like the impact would shatter all of his bones.
Like, he has normal human bones and everything, right? So what?
I mean, he's stronger than normal humans, so he would be able to absorb something, but...
Yeah, he can lift. You know. If we went back to that Marvel game we were talking about, that role-playing game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think his strength was at least remarkable, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his bones must be able to withstand that at least, but... Yeah, so Angel catches him before he goes off into space. And then Cyclops and them are yelling at him. He says, hey, what we got to do, Angel, lure the Hulk up to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Because we got to get him away from all these people here. Mm. So the Hulk, being the big dummy he is, chases Angel, and he climbs the Eiffel Tower like King Kong. Because you're going to be able to catch that guy with wings if you get to the top of that thing. That's as high as he can fly.
That's solid thinking.
So Hulk goes up there, and now all the X-Men are going up there too. Beast is just jumping up the Eiffel Tower. Marvel Girl is using her telekinetic power to lift her. She hopes it's strong enough to lift me all the way to the top. Man, she has no confidence at all.
No. She has no idea how powerful she is at this point, apparently.
And look at Iceman. He's got boots on. I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he used to have boots.
And so they get up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and Angel, being the smart guy he is, he's like, the Hulk's not looking, or whatever. They don't call him the Hulk, but he's like, he's not looking. If I just fly up behind him here and just run into his back, me and my hollow bird bones will really do a lot of damage to that giant monster.
Yeah.
So he flies into Hulk's back, and Hulk's like, oh, wait, something hit Hulk's back. It's gone now. I don't know what that was. And Angel just goes bouncing off.
Big fly.
So that was pretty funny.
Yeah. That was great.
So Rick Jones and Barit teleport up to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Who knew there was so much room at the top of the Eiffel Tower? There's a lot of people up.
And how does Cyclops get up here? We see everyone else going up there, but nobody is carrying Cyclops.
I don't think he is up there, right? Because they're like, oh no, he is up there, yeah.
We see him shooting his optic blast in that same panel there.
Because remember, he disappears for a while. No one knows where he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, this fucking Cyclops guy. I guess he took the elevator.
Yeah. Long way up.
Barit changes back into her showgirl outfit to try and distract the Hulk, I guess. I don't know. But Rick Jones is there. And he's like, hey, Hulk, you can't be beating up these people. Just calm down, They're not our enemies. And Hulk says, nah, I don't know. Anyone who tries to hurt the Hulk is Hulk's enemy. And I don't know. Cyclops is saying some shit. And, he said, that's a monster. We got to take that monster's out of control. And Rick Jones is like, nah, that's just my buddy. Don't worry. He had a little too much to drink. Don't worry about it. He's all right. And they're like, but that's not the monster they think Hulk's the monster that's been running through Paris the last few days. But then Barit's like, no. Look over there. Here comes one of the monsters. And sure enough, one of them that Krylorian that got mutated is now a super giant ribbit. And he's rampaging through Paris. Look out. So.
Uh-oh.
Now the X-Men have to go fight him. And it's not going so well. And the Krylorian grabs Marvel Girl because all she can do is just be a hostage. That's all you can do here.
But I like that she's like, I can't loosen his fingers either telekinetically or manually. Like, yes, because your telekinetic powers couldn't do it, but you're like 80 pounds of strength. your teenage girl frame, that's going to do it.
So Rick Jones is like, hey, Hulk, you got to go help them, And Hulk's like, fuck that. I don't like that guy with the bird wings. Yeah. Screw him. They're a bunch of dorks.
He doesn't even know that he ran into his back, or he'd be even more mad. Luckily, he barely registered that.
Rick Jones is like, come on, Hulk, you got to do it. He's like, nope. But then a piece of rock hits the Hulk in the head.
Yep.
Just a straight.
That I thought was very funny.
And Hulk's like, what? That giant robot hurt Hulk. Big Monster hit Hulk with rock. Hulk not like that. Hulk not like Big Monster. Hulk hate Big Monster. Hulk smash. That's pretty funny.
That's the best. Jesus loses it at every slight. I love it.
So Hulk goes and fights the Big Monster, but the monster's whipping Hulk's ass. He punches him in the belly, knocks him down. And now this is where I got confused. Can you explain what happens here, Jake? Because it looks like Barit has some little techno thing that's going to help them win the fight. And then she takes it out to use it. Like it's going to knock the robot unconscious or something. But when she uses it, it doesn't work. And then the robot self-destructs.
I think all the device she had was blocking the electronic devices and instruments guiding this thing. So the Krylorians were no longer able to view it. Like they were recording this whole thing, but they can't see it anymore.
Okay.
And they can't control it. But then, it just spontaneously dies the way the other ones did. So nothing they do is of any use here. Basically,
that's what I was confused about.
You got the Hulk, you got the fucking X-Men, and none of them did anything. It's basically just, this thing burned itself out the same way the other ones did.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. So shouldn't the heroes do something? But no.
That'd be nice.
So they couldn't find Cyclops for a while, but then Cyclops shows up and he's got that radio thing Xavier gave him, and he says, "Oh, I tracked down the signal, so let's go to the headquarters." So Chapter 5, Final Combat. Now we see those other two Krylorians. They're still in their headquarters there. They're saying, "Man, that other one blew up. We got to really go back to the drawing board on this mutated robot thing. It's not working out." And then before they can make future plans, the Hulk comes busting through their headquarters. Hulk is coming, big head. Hulk is coming to rip down your doors and stomp your big head.
That's good Hulk dialogue. I enjoy it.
So these Krylorians are shooting lasers and shit at him. But then the X-Men show up, and Cyclops takes care of the shrapnel that was hitting them. And then Marvel Girl, I like this teamwork. He blows up the metal things that were flying at him into shrapnel, and then Marvel Girl uses her brain to shoot the shrapnel back at the Krylorians. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Cyclops and Jean Grey, good team, turns out.
And then, except when he's out banging a clone over.
Yeah. They're cheating on her with Emma Frost in their minds.
Well, who hasn't cheated with Emma Frost in their minds? I mean, come on.
True.
Then the Hulk picks up a big chunk of machinery and just chucks it at the Krylorians. And they're like, "Oh, let's get out of here." So, everything just blows up. But the X-Men escape in time.
Yeah. Everybody escapes unscathed, basically. All the X-Men and the Hulk and, Bruce Banner and Rick Jones and everybody. It's somehow, I don't understand how they had time to do that, but they just kind of brush it off.
Yeah, they don't know what happened. Again, I don't think they ever call him the Hulk, right? They just call him the Monster or whatever.
Nope.
Or no, they do call him the Hulk. I think so, Angel. Everyone except the Hulk. So at some point they had to learn his name's the Hulk.
Well, then B says, "I don't know what about that green-hued gargantua leader man, but I seem to have found an extra person." So they don't clearly know he's the Hulk. They're just calling him a green-skinned gargantuan.
Yeah, and that extra person is Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Even though this extra person is wearing the same pants.
Yeah, same purple pants. And the Hulk's gone and Bruce Banner's there. I thought Beast was a smart guy. What the fuck?
He's been using his strength. So then they lay Bruce Banner there on the ground there so he can, before he can wake up. And Barit and Rick Jones are looking at him. And then Angel says, "Hey, wait a minute. That's the guy plucked out of the river." That's what he's thinking, although he never actually vocalizes that because he says, "Now wait a minute, ... And then Professor Xavier pops up. And he says, "No, Warren, don't press Rick Jones has his secrets just as we have ours. And your mission has ended, X-Men. Return to the plane at once." And when he said secrets, he means that him and Jean Grey are, making sweet, sweet love behind everyone's back.
Yep. Teacher-student relations.
So the X-Men leave, and then Barit changes into a normal lady outfit. Not a nun, not a showgirl, just a normal lady outfit. And Rick Jones is carrying Bruce Banner. And he's like, yeah. She's like, how's this, Rick? Just fine, Breet. Sure beats the nun act, 'cause the doc needs some rest. Bad. And so do we. That's how it ends.
Wow. What a tale.
Yeah.
Epic from beginning to end.
Since we're here, the Bloodstone story, I did not read this. You said you read it. How did you feel about the Bloodstone? This was written by John Warner and drawn by Bob Brown, and I guess inked by Rudy Nebris.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. I didn't totally know what was going on all the time. He's got like some actor and I don't know, like some kind of producer or something also following him, and I didn't know what their role was in this whole thing. They're just kind of piloting this submarine. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of characters here I don't know. But again, it's kind of like the first story. There's a lot of big monsters. So there's this big monster who apparently has stolen the Bloodstone, but then gets locked in like a freeze ray, and Ulysses Bloodstone gets it back. And then the Killer Shrike. Do you know the Killer Shrike, that supervillain?
I do not. It sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, you might recognize him. He's one of those guys who pops up here and there. I feel like, kind of Iron Man or Captain America, maybe.
Yeah, it seems like one of those. Seems like an Iron Man villain.
Yeah, he seems like one of those villains who, like kind of C-listers who the Scourge would have taken out in that Captain America run where he's killing all those villains. Yes. Like, he seems like one of those. But he's got these like Talon things that apparently have like, you can get electrically charged type thing. So Ulysses Bloodstone fights him. I guess Ulysses Bloodstone's big thing is his shotgun. That it can like ignite the shells, or I guess he just ignites the shells telepathically somehow. Because at one point he doesn't even use the shotgun; he just throws the shells at Killer Shrike and like blows them up with his mind, and takes Killer Shrike out of off guard basically because he didn't expect that. But then at the end he kind of slams. He's got these two Talon. Killer Shrike has these Talon things on his arms, and so Bloodstone smashes them together and kind of overloads Killer Shrike, and that's how he ends up knocking him out.
So this Bloodstone thing, is that what gives him the immortality? Or...
Yes. Yeah. I think it also like increases his strength and stuff like that, and probably gives him that power to ignite the shotgun shells too. But
all right.
Pretty much that whole package.
All right.
And there's some kind of a conspiracy going on. In fact, they call themselves The Conspiracy.
Now you're playing
very
my
original.
song.
I know. So there's some interludes that have to do with that, and Killer Shrike apparently is there as part of this conspiracy. So I don't know. It could be interesting as an ongoing thing.
All right. I mean, the art in it looks fine, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed the art. Pretty good.
All right, so that's the Bloodstone there. You can read more about him. And maybe he's got to appear in other books, right? Maybe we'll do a Bloodstone somewhere else. Focus on Bloodstone.
Sure.
Getting back to this here book, Alfredo Alcala is the inker for this. He's the one doing all the heavy shading.
Chevy chasing.
How'd you feel about Doug Mench's writing here, Jack?
Ooh, most of the time not so good. There was a line or two, like I said, with the Hulk stuff that was pretty good. Yeah. I liked it, but for the most part, it didn't really click for me. A lot of it was over explaining things that you didn't really need explained. And yeah, the whole putting down of Marvel Girl at every turn was weird.
It was like 20% cool Hulk stuff. Maybe we'll go 60% over explaining.
Yeah.
And then another 20% making fun of Marvel Girl for being a girl.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Different time.
But I did like the cool Hulk stuff, the Hulk smash stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that sequence of Angel plucking him out of the river or the lake or whatever.
That would be cool if that was like in a movie where just he's picking up one guy and picks up the other guy. That's cool. That would be a good sequence. I
liked Hulk chowing down on all those baguettes. And the story itself is very dull. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a lot of interesting things happening here.
No, for an X-Men Hulk team up / battle, you'd think there would be more to it. They don't really fight very much between the two of them when they first meet. There's always that classic, misunderstanding fight, but that really wasn't very good. And then when they teamed up to fight the creature, it also wasn't good because again, they did nothing. And then
he swatted Beast away, and that was the extent of their fight, really.
Yeah.
And then, even the first time the Hulk met that robot in the countryside, he did nothing. The robot self-destructed. So then the robot saw, we need our heroes to do things. That's So
the X-Men investigated this, but what did they really accomplish? I guess they blew up the monster's base so that they couldn't do this again. I guess that's something.
I guess all those sequence of events may not have happened because I don't know. Barit was the one who saw. I don't know. I think Hulk probably would have done it without them, really, when you think about it, because Hulk would have been there and saw that other robot.
Yeah.
The other robot hit him with that piece of rock, and he's like, "All right, fuck you, robot." And then, but he wouldn't have known where their hideout was.
Yeah, I guess they needed, that radio detector. Yeah. So I guess that's contribution.
They served their purpose. All right, we talked about the art here. It was, I hated every panel with the Hulk in it.
Yes. I can't even argue with that part, because he looked pretty disgusting. Which I guess, some people like to think of the Hulk that way, but I don't know.
It was terrible.
I like when he kind of looks like an exaggerated version of Bruce Banner, not just some weird, disheveled troll Quasimodo guy.
Yeah, just his anatomy, there's a lot of, everything looks flat here. Again, it looks like a very, even though he was 4 years in here, he hadn't done a regular penciling. I don't think he'd done a regular title yet. He was just doing fill-ins and shit, So I don't think, this is like an early, if you ever try to draw comic books, this is kind of what it looks like when you first start. At least the Hulk stuff. He did a lot of good stuff, like we said, with Xavier's faces, and the X-Men look pretty good throughout, I think. But,
absolutely.
Yeah. But the Hulk stuff was rough. It was
good. I can't argue with that. That may have, again, part of that must have been, I think, the shading and the inking. Just really heavy on it. So you can't make out a lot of it.
I don't know, Jake. What do you go 1 out of 10 for this? Because it's a tough one. There was some entertaining stuff, but now just the Hulk story. Don't factor in Bloodstone yet. Just the Hulk story. Sure. I don't know if I can't go. I was going to go 5, but even that sounds high.
I'm thinking that as well.
I might go 4 because it was just dull and I wouldn't want to. So I like some of it, but not enough to recommend it. So 4.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. A 4 is about right. Stories about giant monsters who don't talk in general are never going to be my favorites. I like a villain that actually has a cool backstory and some interesting stuff to say. But, I don't know. I've certainly read worse, but I don't need to revisit this one very often.
No. All right. So if you factor in the Bloodstone, does it go up? Stay the same?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 5 if factor in Bloodstone.
There you go.
It was a little sharper in there.
All right, Jank. So that's Rampaging Hulk issue 2 from 1977. Next week, it's your pick. What do you got?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I'm building off of your pick, but I'm not.
Yeah, you don't have to. I think it's best if you go fresh every week and then I play off you, or if I go, because otherwise we'd just be doing black and white magazines every week. So
would drastically change the tone of the show forever.
Yeah.
Well, it's Christmas time.
Oh, so, no. Those words are horrible on Flea Market Fantasy. This means Mike L is picking some fucking stupid Christmas with superheroes.
Yep, usually picks one of those DC, superheroes or Christmas specials. But this year, instead, we're going to do something different. We're going to do a DC Comics Christmas special.
You son of a bitch.
But the good news is it has nothing to do with the DC universe.
Oh, wait, what?
That's right. It's put out by DC, but really, could have been put out by anybody. Because it has to do with a little person called Cassandra Peterson.
Oh, Elvira?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do Elvira's House Mystery Special Haunted Holiday.
I was going to say, shouldn't this be a Halloween episode? So it's Elvira's Christmas Special.
Yep.
How did you encounter the Elvira Christmas Special?
I think I just saw one panel from it popped up on something. Like, I don't know if people, like, they made it into artwork and so you could hang it on your wall, but I saw that panel and I'm like, I need to find what comic this is from because this will be a good Christmas issue. And I found it.
All right. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right. I wasn't expecting that at all. So, all right, next week. Now, what's the official title of this again so people can look it up?
If you look it up on the website that we normally go to, and I think most places, you'll go to Elvira's House of Mystery Special.
Okay.
And then on the cover, I think it just says like Elvira's Haunted Holiday.
All right. Well, this was
her sitting on Santa Claus's lap.
Hey now, any idea who the creators are?
I think it's a bit of an anthology, so I think there's a couple different ones.
Okay.
Couple different stories.
I'll be honest, Jank. I think Mike L will be very proud. This is exactly a Mike L pick that he would make. So.
Yes. Trying to carry on that tradition. But hey, no Batman or Superman or anything. So.
I do appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Getting off light.
All right. So that's it for this week. Next week, Elvira. Until then, don't get any jank on you.